Are you feeling like just now, on the verge of spring 2023, you're getting back on your feet in your journey? Like you're finally getting that urge to get disciplined and stay consistent and ready to tackle some goals? Do you feel like you're behind? Because holy cow, it's almost spring and almost 3 months of the year have passed. I have good news for you if any of that applies to you. You're actually right on time and in so many ways. So let's dive in. Hey mama, welcome to the Tough Love Mom Podcast. I know you're here because you're ready to get consistent and finally lose that weight, and you're not afraid of a little tough love. You know what to do to lose weight, but following through on those things feels impossible. You wish you could just feel like your strong, confident self again and want to be a good example for your little ones, but you get thrown off by mom guilt and the unpredictability of motherhood. It's frustrating. Taking on your journey postpartum is hard, but it's not impossible. Hey, I'm Liz, and I've been where you are. I gained a lot of weight in my pregnancies, 90 pounds and then 60 pounds. I needed to lose that weight to take control of my health and honestly just wanted to feel like myself again. With a sustainable approach to weight loss, simple consistency, and working on my mindset, I lost it all in just over a year both times, and I'm here to help you do the same. I believe that we have an ingrained ability to figure out what we need to do, make it happen, and do it in a way that awes the world. If you're ready to stop falling off the wagon, create solid routine and healthy habits, and finally feel your best inside and out, all while enjoying dino nuggets on your salad, you are in the right place. We're about to transform your journey, my friend. Get pumped up. It is tough love time. As you may know, I have a handful of fellow podcasters who are literally like sisters to me, and I was talking to one of them about this exact topic just on the business and podcasting side of things versus my journey. So personally for me, I was telling her how it's felt like this entire first part of the year it's been so much inward work on the podcast, on like the Tough Love Mom brand in general. Honestly, just a lot of sitting and processing with God and not a whole lot of boots on the ground, fingers to the keyboard kind of work, which is what I like. I like to produce. I like fruitful type of work. And this was a lot of inward work. To let you in, I had this whole plan for January, February, and March. I had all the steps laid out to refresh the podcast and my website and everything. And, like the tangible stuff that actually needs to be done, like the checklist, right? I had it all planned out. And do you know what stuff has actually gone down? Like tangibly, steps checked off the list? None of it. None of it. So if you're like, that's kind of how my journey's felt. I said I was going to clean up my nutrition. I said I was going to get consistent with running or working out or whatever. If that's felt like you, I have been in the same boat just on this side of things, taking care of the podcast and the Tough Love Mom Co. and all of that. Just like I said, it's felt like a lot of inward work, a lot of behind the scenes stuff that really on the outside doesn't look as fruitful, right? I've been doing the day-to-day tasks and all the things to keep everything going. Obviously, the podcast hasn't stopped and the community and everything, but when it came to what I thought would be getting done, it didn't. What felt like the goals I wanted to reach or the things I wanted to complete didn't get done because it just was not a season of that outward production. So this was really interesting for me because about a month into January, when I realized this was all kind of starting to happen and I was going to be doing a lot more processing, a lot more inward work and not on myself, but again, on the podcast and on the Tough Love Mom Co. And I was going to be doing more behind the scenes stuff than really stuff that would outwardly show. It was interesting because I was listening to an episode of the Rich Roll podcast, which he is an endurance athlete. He has interviewed a lot of other endurance athletes. It's just I'm fascinated by a lot of the people that are on his show. And I was listening to one of his beginning of the year ones because he always brings up New Year's goals and he brings someone on who can speak to, New Year's resolutions type stuff. And he said in this episode that he's always felt a resistance towards New Year's goals because it's this hibernation season and he feels like he's, it's winter and it's cold and it's just one of those times of year where he doesn't feel like setting all these goals and getting after things. And when he said that, it clicked for me because personally in my journey, I'm not one to latch on to New Year's resolutions. It's not big for me. I'm like, oh, I'm just going to keep doing what I've been doing because that's how I roll. And even when I look back on my journey originally after volleyball ended, gaining a lot of weight because I stopped working out. I stopped eating. I wasn't eating healthy at all because I was in college, but I wasn't working out anymore. I gained a lot of weight really fast. And I was like, I don't feel good. This doesn't feel good. That was over like November, December, January. And it wasn't until about mid-February until I said, no more of this. So, I mean, even since the beginning of my health journey, really taking it into my own hands, I haven't leaned into the whole New Year's resolutions thing and New Year's goals. And if you haven't either, there's reason for it, right? January, February, and March are still winter. Biologically, that's hibernation. We stay in, we go inward. It honestly is not a go out and get after it time of year. Like, we're not wired to be thinking that way and functioning that way, even though there's this whole industry built around New Year's goals and resolutions and all of that, which is good and well. And if you lean into that and it helps, good. But if you're one of those people who you've always felt resistance to it and it has never quite clicked for you, I want to tell you that's normal, right? I mean, I grew up in the Midwest and I remember it not only is a hunker down and ride out this final stretch of winter, it's grueling. Like January and February are the worst winter months there are. They're harsh. And it really is a hunker down, go inward time. So I want to validate that for you. If it has felt unnatural at any point in your life to pursue or get after goals in this new year, that's normal. In my opinion, in my experience throughout the years, and especially this year, that light bulb going off, I think it's normal. And I want extra validate that feeling for you if you're just now starting to get that itch to start getting after goals or consistency or whatever it is in your journey that you want to work towards. I would argue that rhythm of springtime being more so when you have that motivation and that urge to, quote, get after it, I would argue that rhythm is wired into us, and it's not something we should fight against. If January is the time of year when you just kind of want to get back on your feet within your home, you want to get back into rhythms and routines with your family, and you really don't want to be trying to do all this extra stuff, don't fight against it. I really think it's wired into us. And as I talked with my friend, another light bulb went off for me, and this is what I really thought was interesting. This rhythm literally lined up with my personal lineup of challenges for this year. I'm taking on a couple of fun different physical challenges. I'll do 75 hard again probably in the fall just because I like it and it's a good mental toughness challenge. But there were other things I had lined up and none of them started until March. January and February were both training months. Like I said about all of the other prior years when January rolled around, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. And that's how I treated the beginning of this year too. January and February were both training months. A just show up day in and day out, do the work kind of season. I would go on the runs, I would do the strength training, I would eat and sleep well, and there was nothing to show for it other than just doing the work, just being consistent. March, on the verge of spring, is when all of that training gets to be put to the test. I just did my 4x4x48 running challenge, and as I'm recording this, in a few days, I'll be doing a Spartan race. Now, I know my journey looks different than yours, as it should, but if you're just now feeling that urge to get going and get consistent and, start taking things on in your journey or start doing new things or whatever it is, Mama, you are right on time. You're not late. Right now, in my opinion, is the best time of year to start doing that because biologically we are wired to start going out now, to start doing new things and adding new things, new rhythms, new routines, new habits into our life. Now, I will tell you, if you want to do this in a sustainable way, if you've, maybe set resolutions and they didn't work out, and maybe you're realizing you weren't supposed to do that in January, maybe you were supposed to wait till spring to start adding in new things, or maybe this has kind of been your rhythm year after year, and March is more so the time when you like to start adding in new habits to your journey and getting more consistent and whatnot. If that's when you start focusing more on you and, your family's in a good routine and everything, and you're like, I can add myself back into this mix now. Whatever it is, whatever reason you're sitting here going, yes, I'm on time. This is my time. I feel good about it. If you want to do it in a way that's sustainable, if you want to add in habits in a way that they're going to stick over time, you're not just going to do it for a few months and then summer rolls around and your kids get out of school and everything kind of falls to the wayside again. If you genuinely want to change your habits, Starting Point School is the place for you, and it opens back up in just a few short weeks. So you can get on the wait list at startingpointschool.co so you can get all the details before the doors open up. It will have some extra special bonuses that are only available the first week that it's open. So make sure you're on the wait list so you know when that is, you know when doors open. It's getting a quick little overhaul based on feedback from the ladies that have just gone through it, the moms that have been seeing results. It's been so cool seeing them walk through the Starting Point process and go, oh, this is where I need to start. And just feeling that sense of relief that they can just focus on that one thing, and then actually getting to see them master that and go, yeah, I've moved on. I'm on my next habit. It's called a stepping stone, your next habit after your starting point. Seeing them move on. I mean, there are some moms who have added in 3 or 4 new habits in their journey in the last 3 months. And the way they talk about it, it's just so nonchalant. It's like, yeah, that's just what I do now. They're just so confident and so sure of themselves because they've done it in a sustainable way. So if you need that support and that guidance, Starting Point School is the place for you to learn that and get equipped so you can take your journey on sustainably and have those actually become part of who you are. The eating healthy, the working out consistently, the having a good sleep routine, all of those things are vital to weight loss, to longevity, to your health overall, to your mental health, to your emotional health. And I want you to have that. I don't want you to feel like you're striving or trying to do this and just white knuckle it to the point where it doesn't feel sustainable. No one wants to live that way. And I don't want you living that way because there is a way to carry out your journey that feels good. And Starting Point School will teach you that. So again, get on the wait list at startingpointschool.co. Make sure you're there. I'll let you know all the details when the doors are about to open back up so you can get committed and get into Starting Point School. All right, now that you know that's coming up, back to the spring thing. Maybe I'm like totally late to the party and having this light bulb moment and realizing kind of how we're wired and how I believe God created us to kind of function with the seasons and how that all aligns. Maybe I'm new to that and haven't realized that before. Maybe you're like miles ahead. I'd love for you to let me know. There's a post up in the Tough Love Mom Squad today. So I'd love for you to let us know if this has been a light bulb moment for you before, if you've kind of realized, hey, yeah, that whole like New Year's resolution thing isn't for me. And spring is really when I feel that motivation coming back. I'd love to know if you've experienced this or if maybe today you've had a bunch of light bulb moments and gone, wow, it all finally makes sense and I don't feel like a failure. Whatever it is, come share in the Tough Love Mom Squad. It's our Facebook listener community. It's totally free and it's a great place to just go discuss the episodes, post up on the feed about what you learned today or maybe what you realized, because for me, this was revolutionary. This was something I needed to realize for myself, to not feel that guilt about what I hadn't gotten done the first few months of the year. Again, I think we're wired this way. So I'll see you in the Tough Love Mom Squad. And until next time, mama, get after it. Before you go, thank you for spending this time with me on the Tough Love Mom podcast. If this episode encouraged you in any way, the number one way you can thank me is to leave a review letting me know how the show has impacted you. Then send this episode to another mom friend or take a screenshot, post it on social media, and tag me so I can personally thank you for helping me on this journey to impact thousands of moms. I'm so grateful to be on this journey with you, sister. Until next time, get after it.